Let's see. How do you stay motivated to keep practicing, as I've been self-teaching for a year and I feel like I'm not progressing as fast as I should? I'm thinking of doing a master's in animation just to learn from others and get mentored. Um, that's a really good question. It's a tricky thing, how to stay motivated. And the this is the tricky part. Motivation is fleeting, and it's one of those things, we've talked about this a lot on the stream, but it's always worth repeating. Is motivation and inspiration are both fleeting, especially inspiration. A lot of times people, when they're animating, drawing, all of this kind of these artistic fields, they wait for inspiration to hit. So when they get that wonderful idea, okay, let's jump in and let's start animating and doing this thing. That's great. When the inspiration hits, when you just get this beautiful idea and you feel like you can do it, that's wonderful. But it doesn't last, and it's not reliable. You never know when inspiration is going to hit. If you had to wait for inspiration to hit all the time, you'd never get anything done. Motivation is better, but it's again fleeting. There are days when I don't feel like animating. There are days when I don't feel like being on camera. There are days when I don't feel like teaching classes. It's just like, maybe you don't feel well, or you're just tired, and it's like, I don't feel like doing that. It's not that that I dislike it. I feel like, oh, maybe today I should just have a pizza day and watch some television. There are days when you're not going to feel like doing the thing that you need to do. And in this case, it's learning. Once again, motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. So what we need to do is practice dedication. Dedication is what's going to get you ahead. That's what's going to keep you doing it and keep you going regardless. Now that is not to say, a lot of people confuse dedication with forcing yourself to do something whether you like it or not. No, that is not the case. If I hated doing the streams, if I hated teaching, if I hated animating, I don't want to force myself to do something I don't like. I don't want to force myself to hate the thing that I used to love. The point is that I do love it. I know that I love it. I love doing the Twitch streams. I love teaching. The dedication is forcing myself to do this and knowing that it's because I'm going to get better at it. That I'm just delaying this because I'm bored or I'm a little tired. So the dedication is there to keep you going. And once you can get that in there, the dedication that, okay, today I have to do my master study and I'm going to do it unless something really big comes up. I'm not going to take a break just because, I want to watch television. I can watch television later. This is my animation time. So that dedication is important, and it's very hard. Dedication is hard to build up and get into that cycle. Usually it takes about like 2 or 3 weeks to get a good schedule where it's easier to kind of keep going, sometimes a month. But the key is setting, like we were talking about before, setting deadlines for yourself, setting goals to hit, setting landmarks to kind of make sure that you do these things, thinking of it like a class environment. Even if you're learning on your own, if you're learning at school, you've got a class time, you've got a deadline for your assignments, you've got a day that you have to get everything done by. So you do that for your own time. You set up your schedule. For me, when I was a student, and even now, I would set up my own calendar, and I would just, if I'm working on a project, I set up all of these deadlines and I treat it as if there's a grade, or if there's like a class where a teacher is expecting me at this time. I can't put it off. So that's the way I tend to do it. Now, everyone's a little different. So what I would recommend is reading up on dedication and ways of implementing it. I know two very popular methods are the Pomodoro technique. So let me write this in the chat here. Pomodoro technique. Just do a Google search for that. It's basically a timer. So instead of sitting down for long periods of time, so sitting down and doing like 3 hours of working on your animation all at once, you do 20 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. And then you do another 20 minutes and a 5-minute break. 20 minutes, 5-minute breaks. And after a certain amount of repeats, you take a longer break, like 15 or 20 minutes. And then you go back to 25, 20, and so on. And that worked really well. I tried that for a while and it made it much more bite-sized. Instead of that kind of thought of, I've got to sit down for 3 hours of gesture drawing. Ugh, I could be doing so many other things. It's like, it's 20 minutes. I'll do 20 minutes. If after 20 minutes, I get up and I feel like I need to do other things, then I'll do that. But usually what ends up happening is I'll do 20 minutes of drawing. I'll get up and I'll go, I could do another 20 more. So you sit back down. You do 20 more minutes. And then you get back up and go, I think I could do 20 more. And you sit back down and you do. And it's very easy after that to just kind of get a cycle going. And it makes it so that it's easier to kind of get bite-sized chunks and not get lost in just like spending 3 hours doing nothing in that sense. Yeah, it's kind of like time compartmentalization. It's just making things bite-sized. And I found it works really well when you're doing tedious work. So I had to do a whole bunch of like spreadsheet documentation at one point, just like filling out spreadsheets for work. And it was going to be like 2 weeks of this kind of stuff, just tedious, like filling out spreadsheets. And I used the Pomodoro technique every day when I was doing that, and the work days would just fly by. It didn't feel like it was just this long, tedious slog, because I'd get up, stretch, read a little bit, like just 5 minutes, and then I'd sit back down, and it made it easy. And that was work that I didn't like. With work that you enjoy, you do 20 minutes and it's like, oh man, I don't really want to take a break. And then you get up and it's like, but you're just thinking of, okay, when I sit back down, I'm going to try this and this, and I'm going to try all these new ideas. So that helped me a lot. It doesn't help everyone, but at least for me, it helped quite a bit. The other thing that helped a lot is the don't break the chain. So if you just Google don't break the chain, this is you can get apps for this. You can print out calendars for this. It's essentially, you have goals that you want to accomplish every day. So maybe you want to animate or do something animated related every day. So learn animation. And you will get a calendar with that goal in mind. And what you do is, let's say on Monday, you sit down and you do something animated related. You do a master study. You read a book. You do something that's related to what you want to learn. You check that off. Then on Tuesday, again, you do something animation related. You check that off. You keep going, keep going. Eventually, you're going to have a calendar where you've done that thing nonstop for a certain amount of time. And the more you look at that calendar, and let's say you've done this for 20 days, that urge to go, I'll take a day off, is a lot harder, because you'll break the chain. You're setting your high score. How long can you do this before you break the chain? And just the psychology of the way our brains work, the longer it goes, the less what we want to break that chain, the more we really want to keep it going, because we put a lot of work in that chain. We don't want to lose it. So that helped me a lot, especially when I wanted to get started learning something new. So like gesture drawing or just doing something I've never done before, because it kind of motivates you to just do something. And the big thing I would recommend with that is don't set the goals to be super specific. So it's not like I have to animate every day, because some days you're not near your computer. Some days you just don't want to sit down by your computer. So you do it where it's something like learning animation. So that's animating. That's reading a book about animation. It's studying animation, and not just, oh, I watched a movie, check, that's studying. No, if you watched a movie, did you sit down and analyze the movie? Did you really pay attention to the animation in the film? Then you can check it off. When you were reading about animation, were you actually paying attention to what you were reading, or were you just skimming? You have to be self-policing on that. You have to kind of be strict with yourself and don't let yourself get away with just, oh yeah, I looked at the cover of the book, that's enough. But it's not that you have to do a very specific, like I have to animate 100 frames per day. No, because there will be days when you're not able to do that. So as long as you can kind of get those processes going, and there's a few other things like that, but all of them are not about building motivation. Motivation will come with it, but it'll ebb and flow. There will be days where you just don't want to do it. Just like there's days I don't want to animate. I really don't. But I do it anyway because A, it's my job, and B, I know that if I don't, I'm not going to get better at it. And I love it. I love animation. So I want to get better, so I'm going to do it. I not only looked at the cover of the book, but I bought it. Is it learning? Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I bought a book. Yeah, well, you're on your way to learning, but it's still not learning animation yet. And that's the thing, like, we're just, as humans, there will be days where, like, for example, I was trying to learn how to do gesture drawing, and I had to be very strict with myself, where I couldn't just let myself go in and just doodle, doodle, doodle. Okay, I did some circles. Yeah. No, it had to be a good enough drawing. I had to make sure that I put the effort in. Basically, I was the teacher sitting over my own shoulder going, pay attention. You can't just like doodle in the margins and go, but I'm listening. So you have to be not strict with yourself, but you can't let yourself get away with trying to undermine your progress. So yeah. And then Mr. Johan, also a good thing is to add a reward system like with it. Yes, that's actually something I did as well. Like if I did what I wanted to do, I can play games or watch TV or have an ice cream. Exactly. So this is a tricky one because it can backfire, but it can work very well as well. So the idea is that you reward yourself for doing the thing that you want to do. So I want to learn animation. If I learn animation, I will have an ice cream. Or if I learn animation, I will get to watch TV and watch my favorite TV show. If I don't have the ice cream or I don't watch television. And if it works great. If it doesn't, what it ends up doing is making you hate the thing that you liked. And Keyflow, thanks so much for the sub. Aw, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Aw. Yeah, well, we were talking about the backfire. It can make you hate the thing that you were trying to learn, where you're starting to associate the idea of animating with, if I don't do this, I'm gonna punish myself. And then it kind of becomes self-deprecating, which, no worries about interrupting. I'm just easily distracted. It's why I haven't read the chat too much, because I know there's a lot of really awesome questions, but I'm so easily distracted. I'll try to get to everyone's questions, and feel free to repost questions as well if I do miss them. But you can start to hate the thing that you wanted to do. So it has to be, you have to kind of really watch yourself. For me, what I would do was, if I don't, and I think I did when I was trying to learn, was it animation? No, it was something else. I forget what it was, but we'll say drawing. I was trying to learn drawing, and I wouldn't let myself watch television until I did some drawing. And that actually ended up being very tricky for me at that time when I did that, because I have family who wanted to watch television, and they have their own schedule. So when they jump in and go, hey, let's watch this TV show, I can't just go, nope, I've got to draw still, sorry. Because if I say no, then their schedule, they can't, like, it just ruins everything. So I was punishing myself, and then I felt bad because I couldn't say no, and it didn't work out. So I had to find a way to reward myself in a way that didn't make me feel just guilty all the time, but also kind of gave me an extra thing. So for me, what it was I would not watch any YouTube videos or anything like that. I would not do the fun stuff of the internet, like no Twitter, no social media, no YouTube, none of that. No fun side of the internet until I did my work. And then once I did my work, then I would watch my YouTube videos. And that ended up working really well for me because it's not like a high stakes thing. If I don't watch YouTube, it's not like, well, I'm messing up someone's schedule, or oh no, I'm starving myself. I haven't had my food today. It's just a little reward system. And the bonus of it is, at least for me, when I watch YouTube, typically I also try to work. So I would do some work, yes, success, and then reward, watch YouTube. As I'm watching YouTube, I would do more work because I've already warmed myself up. So it was really good for me. And essentially what it's doing is it's training your brain, if you do it correctly, to associate the thing that you're trying to learn, in my case drawing, with reward, with something you like. So you go to do it and your brain goes, I'm happy, I'm going to get a treat afterwards. So it's a very useful technique, but again, be very careful the way you set it up. If you're not careful, it can backfire and make you start disliking the thing you like. So to be used with caution, but it can work very well.